In this video, we're going to work with multiple lines in a tooltip, and basically we're going to customize the tooltip. As you can see here, for example, products, and this one has staff, and you can see every tooltip has a specific value, which is an independent label being shown in the tooltip, and all of these are unique. And this is a quite useful thing as well if you want to display certain data. And so let's start and explore how we can create something like this by customizing the tooltip in our preferred way of displaying data. In this video, we're going to focus on one of the viewers' questions, which is how to show the labels in the customized tooltip in Chart.js. So this question came from one of my other videos about how to set custom string labels on the y-axis in Chart.js. And in here, unqiue had the following question. So a special thank you for unqiue for asking the question, and this was the question he asked. Hello sir, how can I rename the dataset labels? I have 5 chart lines and I want to show label names in the chart line tooltip, not on the x-axis, on the y-axis. So what we're going to do is basically, if you have 5 lines in your chart, you will experience this issue as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to fix that. We're going to show them in the tooltip. So let's start and explore. First of all, what I want you to do is, because we're going to grab the default code, and that is you can find on Chart.js. Oh, sorry, that's not what I wanted. On the chartjs.com, chartjs3.com. Here, click on Getting Started, and then here you have the code. I'm going to use this demo code. You can find the link as well in the description box. So once I have this, what I want to do is I want to copy all of the text here, the title, paste in here. All right. And then once I save this, I refresh this. There we are. We have now a bar chart, but what I want to do is I want to create 5 line charts. So to do this, we need to have some extra data here. So what I'm going to do is, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to just grab these color codes. I'm going to use this later on because we're going to create 4 additional lines in this line chart, but I'm going to remove all the excess here so that later on, once we have it, we can just copy and paste the data. Alright, so once we did this, we're here. Alright, so we have this now. So what I want to do here now is we have to duplicate the data set 4 more times. So I say here, comma, paste, comma, paste, comma, paste, and comma, paste. Alright, now I have 5 in total. Next, what I want to do is I want to grab the colors. So I'm going to grab this color here, the second color, which is probably the blue color. Paste in here, paste in here. Next one would probably be the yellow or green color. I have no idea. Oh, sorry, that should be this one here. Let's see, where are we now? There we are. And just copy pasting here because the end value is not really, has no difference. The only thing what that had a difference was the transparency level that it uses. So we have this one. Alright, so next one is this and that. And finally, we have the last color. I think that's this one here. Alright, so we got all of this. I'm going to change this to a line chart. And what I want to do more is, well, let's save this first, refresh. Alright, there's some issues here. Let's see. Unexpected identifier number 27. Alright, that makes sense. So the reason here is I forgot the commas. Make sure you put the commas in here. Finally this. Alright, so if I save this right now, you can see this works. Alright, but all the lines are probably on each other. So what I want to do is 2 more things. I'm going to remove this border width. I will just replace it with a tension because I want to have this nicely elastic. So I say here 0.4 tension, so it's not a straight line. Let's do that one first. Then we have to adjust the colors as well. Or no, sorry, not the colors, but the values. Alright, so the next thing what I want to do here is the following, which is the color values. I'm going to just put in some random numbers. You can do it as well. Just get anything you want. Doesn't matter exactly what. So I say here 3, this is 7, this is 9, this is 11. This is 13 and this is 15, and here this will be 11, and then we have 10, 9, 7, 6, 2, All right, and then here, this should go a bit more up and down. So we say here 20, that's fine. 10, 15, 5, that's fine. And then we can say here, 15 again, and then 10. All right. So if I save this, you have all kind of lines going all kind of directions. Perfect. So it looks quite nice, nice rounded or elastic lines. So now we're done with this. What I want to do here is some extra data values. So say votes, this could be products, number of products, number of sales, number of cost, and number of supplies. There we are. So we have this again. Now you have different items here, but if you hover over it, you can see here now what's going on. We will grab, well, in this case, some parts are together. So in that case, then it's valid that they are showing both. But we will grab all these things, but you can see everything is considered blue. And maybe, like we have done different categories, maybe we have different items as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these labels. I'm going to show you an unofficial way to do it. So it's not 100% official, but it doesn't create any breaking changes or breaking adjustments in your chart.js. So in that case, we can use this. So basically, we're just creating a new array somewhere in the dataset instead of outside of the dataset. In Chart.js 4, which is in progress, right now we're using Chart.js 3.4, but in Chart.js 4, they already indicate that there will be a breaking change on the axis. So that's, I guess, but that's for the future. For now, we don't have to worry about that. But that's one of the things to consider. All right, we have this here. Then what we want to do here is just get some random values here. So I'm just going to put in some random. Let's say, oh well, a supply. Let's say paper, comma. What do you have more? Plastic, tape, pen, pencil, folders. All right, so we get some. I'm just making stuff up as I go. And I would say for yourself, just do that as well. For the cost, could be rent, water, utility, staff, taxes, and food. Alright, next one. Let's copy this one again. We have some sales here, so I'm going to just make up some sales. Product A of 1. I guess that will be easy. 1. This will be 2, 3, 4, and 5, etc. There was 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then finally here, comma, and we have the next item. Oh, this is the number of products as well. Well, okay. A, B, C, and D, E, and F. Alright, so you can see there's a clear distinction between all of them. But of course, if you hover over it, you will not notice anything. So what we need to do now is to combine them all together. Or start working on it. I'm going to do it in the tooltip. So when we hover over it, we want to see, basically the green needs to be removed and need to be replaced with, and we want to replace the number of votes here and number of products with the item itself. You might say, why are we not able to put it in the title? Sadly enough, it doesn't support the title in here. I don't know why, but it just doesn't support. There might be a different structure for that, but fair enough. So what we're going to do in here, I'm going to make here the options, and then I will say here, plugins, and then tooltip, and in the tooltip, oh, we can do it like this, it's even better, because I will make a constant of tooltip, so make sure you have a comma here, and also here. So why we're doing this here, and here, we're going to create a constant with the tooltip as constant name. If the tooltip would be maybe tooltip A or tooltip 1, 2, 3, etc., etc., you're not allowed to do this. In that case, you're not allowed to use the shorthand, then you need to say tooltip constant name. That's basically here, which is this one, will be put in here. Alright, but because the constant is exactly the same as the object, in that case, comma is sufficient. Alright, save this here. If we do this right now, you can see nothing happens here. And in here, we're going to work with basically the callback. So we're going to say callbacks. This is very important, callbacks. And the callbacks we'll have the following in here. So we say callbacks with an S. If you wonder should you have S, yes or no, check the documentation in Chart.js. So in Chart.js, let's go here, you can see the callbacks, and the callbacks are basically, in the tooltip, it's with an S. In certain other parts, like in Legend, it might be without S. If you're not sure, always check the documentation. Why they have the differences, I don't know. But just follow the documentation for that. Alright, so what we want to do here is we want to adjust here basically the following, which is the label itself. So there's two parts of it. You have the top, which is basically the title, which is the green or the bold. And then you have the label, which consists of the boxes and the values and etc, etc. So you have these two, and what we're going to do is the body part, which is the label, which is the box, the number of votes, and the value. That's what we're going to pinpoint. So let's do that one. So we say here on the label, and then we say context. And the reason why we're saying context is basically the context covers the specific part here. Alright, we get an error here. Let's see what's going on here. Context label, let's see. Well, this is all correct, so just ignore that for now. Later on, I will just check what's going on here. So we say here, the label, context, and then what we want to do here is this. Okay, that explains why there is a incorrectness, sorry. It should be label, column, and function. Alright, so that's the error reason, because it must be a function. The reason why callback is a function. So, and we get the context. So the context is very useful because with this you can almost grab everything in the tooltip. So let's save this and refresh. Unexpected token on 63. Alright. This one here. Alright. What's going on here? Let's check. Callbacks. Let's see. This should be probably like that. Alright. Sorry. Callbacks. So curly braces. In total 3 curly braces. Yes, the callbacks needs a curly brace as well. So, and then once we do this now and then we save, then we have it correctly. And then you can see here, if I hover over it, because that's the trigger point, the moment we hover over it, you can see here, the label section, which is the body of the tooltip, is not showing anymore. We're losing basically the square and the color name and the value. However, everything is in here and you can find all the data here, and this is really powerful. So that's what we're going to grab. We're going to grab it in here and make our own specific label, and afterwards we're going to remove the title of purple because everything here right now is purple. We don't want that. We want to extract and get these values in here. Alright. To do this, we have to do a return. And this return, if you do now just basically text, if we save this, you will see here now, we just show a default value of text, alright? But now we can grab this. What we need to grab is basically this. We are in the context, right? That's why we are showing this context. And this is the reason why we grab this context here. So we are in the context, and basically what we want to do is here, let's say we want to get the value name, which would be the labels inside here. As you can check here, and then we're going to search for the labels. In here, we have the data sets, and then you can find here the labels. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the data set here, dot, and then we can say here labels with an S. If I do this right now, you will see now we get all the values that we need. And if I change this one here to this value, we get everything exactly as desired. There you are. But of course, this is too many. We don't want everything. We only want the one that is relevant. In our case, what is relevant is whatever the product would be. I guess this is product 6 and this would be product 1. It's very straightforward, and these would be whatever we have here. So we want to grab the right one. How do we grab this? The tooltip itself understands it already because we're hovering over it. Because you can see here, the moment we are back on this, let's remove the labels, or let's remove even the context, or we can just go back to context. You can see here, the moment we hover over this red one here, just check. We are here now. It understands basic label orange, alright, fair enough, but that's not what we want. We want it understands data set number 5, data index 5, which is correct. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the 5th one because it's an array. An array counts at 0. Yes, and then it even understands the data set is 0, which is correct because the first data set here, the red one, is 0. So if you go now purple, which would be the fifth data set, or sorry, not the fifth, it's the fifth array, that is data set number 4 because we counted 0. So if you go here, you can see many times it comes here, but don't worry about that. Ignore that. You can find here the data set index number is 4 and the data index is 5 again. And if you hover here over the blue one, let's see what happens. We get already all the data we need. You can see here data index 1, which is correct because the blue one was the second line, but we are starting at the beginning, so data index 0. Alright? So I hope this makes some sense. If it doesn't matter. Let's look right now how we can apply this. So what we want to do here is basically what we need is the number here. We want the label. Which label we want? Well, it depends on where we hover. Since it understands once we hover which data index we have, all we need to do is we need to grab the data index by saying the following here. Context, because that was the starting point, and then dot data index. And the moment we save this, refresh, you can see here now, it shows exactly which value is matching. The pen, product 4, which is the green one, purple, which would be, well, the title doesn't matter, but product E, we can check here. In the purple one, product E, alright, that's good, and then product F would be also purple, alright, and then here, folders is the blue line, which was office supply, the number of supplies, folders, alright, as you can see, this works. So let's do some final adjustments and then we are really done. What I want to do first of all, I want to push the caret, which is the triangle here in the tooltip, down so that the cloud of the tooltip is at the top, or pointing north. So I say here the following, or not in callbacks, but just outside of the callbacks. In here, we can say y align, and then we say single quotation, bottom, meaning that we want to point the caret to the bottom, which is the triangle. There we are. That looks much more nicer. Alright, the title. You say, well, what about the title? I don't want the title. The title looks not appealing because it's not a part of it. You're right. We're going to remove the title. Since the title is also part of the callbacks, all we do here is function again, context. But here we return, what do we return? Blank. As you can see, we just return blank. And now if we refresh, unexpected identifier, why? Comma. Make sure you have a comma here. And now it doesn't show any title at all. We have the pen, the value, product 4, but maybe you say, well, wait a minute, I would like to have also the value of the item, which is correct. Alright, how do we grab it? Well, basically like this. If we understood how we just get the other item, we need to get data index, which is number 3. All we need here is basically to look, instead of the data set labels, we're going now into the data itself. Straightforward, same process, but we need to do here a concatenation. So what I'm going to do is just copy this. Here's a plus. I'm going to do a single string and then plus, and then I'm just going to put in this here for now. And then I say here, I don't know, value, or maybe a single quotation space, save. There we are. So right now you can see green equals green. Alright. Then here all we need is basically here. This should be maintained, but just change here the labels to data. Now, there we are. We get the value of it exactly as desired. And this is basically how you can do it. And you could say here maybe this here, this number of, or total, I have no idea. I'm just making up stuff here just to make it a bit more appealing. So you go comma, and then total 5. There we are. So this is basically how you can do it. Oh, before we even end it, the request was also to remove the two, basically the ticks here. So we're going to remove those ticks before we even complete this. All we need to do here for the ticks, we need to go in the scales. In the scales here, we're going to say the following. We're going to say the ticks. And the ticks, if you're wondering what are the ticks, basically these lines plus this part here. So we're not going to remove the grid line. We don't want to remove the grid line, if not it will be not clear. We're going to remove the text here and here. So those are called the ticks. So why? So and you do that into the options, and in the options, not in the plugins, but just in the options, you go skills, indicate the axis that you want to remove the tick, so the y-axis, tick, and then we say here, curly braces, and then this was probably display false if I'm not mistaken. Make sure here's a comma. If I save this now and refresh, we remove one side of the ticks, we have the values in the tooltip, and then of course final one is on the x-axis. Then we say here ticks, and we say here display false. Comma here, save, refresh. And once we did this, now we remove all the ticks, we have cleared out everything, and this is basically how you do it. You could even remove the legend if you want to, because we have everything in here, but that's up to you, of course, if you prefer that, yes or no. But this is basically how to do it, how to clean up your chart, and then if you have multiple line chart, showing all the values, including these special values that we indicated here, tape, products, and whatever, etc., etc., using the labels within the data sets here. Remember, this is not an official way, but this is basically a clever workaround by just adding a new array inside the data set that is not being used by Chart.js. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in Chart.js, check out in the description box the link directing to my Chart.js course where you can learn everything about Chart.js. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.